Yo, what it is, everybody. Thanks for tuning back in here to another episode here on the Speedbug channel. Today we're going to talk about a video that I've actually been wanting to make for a while, and I know a lot of you viewers are going to really value this video, but it's a video that has actually really gotten under my skin, and because it's already gone for this once. And I know not just me, others have had this issue, and we are going to talk solely about the Diavel S today. Now, first and foremost, let me say, I still really love this bike, and I really do like it, and I don't have any intention on selling it. But let me first say that as much as this damn thing costs, sure, it's pretty, and I already know because you've heard me rant and rave about stuff like this before about this bike. Not just this bike, all Ducatis. You're paying for the prettiness because realistically the craftsmanship and stuff like that, like the looks and the aesthetics wise, they got it down. But as far as when you start wrenching and working on them, they're kind of a piece of shit. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but you know, I've worked on all motorcycles. Some are better than others, but there are a lot of things that I think Ducati cuts a lot of corners on that could have been much better. And as much as they cost, I really do believe that they could definitely be a little bit better, in my opinion. The quality control, especially now that they're backed by Volkswagen, has definitely come up, but I still think is so far below any of the Japanese motorcycles, it's not even funny. But that's another topic, that's another discussion. We're not even going to talk about that. We're talking solely about the continuous issues that I am having with this bike. Number one, which many people have already reported, that's not just mine, it's with the Diavel, the Diavel S, and some even with just the Diavel, which is the failure to recognize the damn key fob. Sometimes it's whether it's in your backpack, whether it's in your back pocket, your front pocket, whatever it is. You'll just be riding and all of a sudden it'll say key fob lost connection or whatever it says on the display. And you would think, okay, like, all right, well, why would that happen? Well, maybe a low battery or something like that. So you replace the battery, and it still happens. Whatever it is with the transponder inside the bike, it decides to obviously lose connectivity with the remote. Why? It's usually never for long or anything, but it's kind of annoying where it should automatically know whether you have the transponder within its proximity or not. I mean, come on, you know, that it's kind of silly. It's not the biggest deal or anything like that, but where it sometimes becomes a problem and an issue is sometimes where it doesn't want to recognize it when you come up to the bike. You walk up to it, you have it in your pocket, and you go to try to start the bike, and it doesn't recognize it. It says no remote. So then you have to go over here, press the manual ignition, type in your code that you set. Hopefully you have a code set, and then turn it on. Then once it powers on, then it recognizes the transponder. Well, if that's the case, I guess the transponder is kind of useless now, is it? I mean, it should only really be used to, and it only is used to put gas in it, but come on, actually do like what it's actually doing. Do what it's actually meant to be like used for, meaning be a full keyless ignition system to start your motorcycle, and it chooses when it wants to be. Second big thing. These damn rear brakes. Now, I know there was a recall on the other ones, but not the Diavel S. Something with this master cylinder, whether I'm going to take it in again because it's under warranty, but you push the brake, it goes all the way down to the floor, like so. Then you pump it, and now it has pressure. Let it sit for 20, 30 seconds, it completely loses pressure. You'd act like you feel like almost like if it would have air in the line, but that's more of like a spongy feeling and such. And if you hold your hand on it for a while, it'll actually lose pressure inside the master cylinder. So I could definitely tell you it has something to do with the plungers and stuff inside of this master cylinder, but after you pump it, it stays in the pressure's there. Now, from the previous issue that I did report on this bike when my rear brakes did lock up, they did replace the caliper, the rotor, and everything like that, you know, and the entire brake system. I think the only thing that they didn't replace was maybe the reservoir cap or something like that, but something small, and like the brake lever itself, but that's just a piece of aluminum stock. It really wasn't needed. So moving forward about this, and I've contacted other ex-Diavel and Diavel owners, and they said they've had the same issue. So I don't know what it is with Brembo and such like that, but they need to get their shit together because it's kind of annoying. The front brakes are flawless. You know, they work great. Thank God the front brakes work great. So a lot of the times, like, you'll hit the back brake and you'll go all the way down and then it won't be there. And then you have to pump it again and now it's there. It's just annoying. Again, as much as these bikes cost, you know, you're creeping up here about 30 G's or so. Come on, like, it's simple. Get the brakes right. It's pretty straightforward. The third thing that I really want to gripe about on this bike. Now, some people are probably going to give me flop about it, but you know what? I don't care. It shouldn't leak oil. And this has to go with all of them. I don't know why Ducati loves to use so much damn silicone versus gaskets. Now, there are some gaskets, but they love to use silicone. And silicone is prone to leaking without gaskets. I don't care what engine it's on. It doesn't matter if it's a Chevy, Ford, Dodge, whatever it is. It's gonna leak over time. And they love to use silicone. Not on this bike, not on the V4, all their bikes. So it leaks oil. And then when you're really whooping on this bike, and when people say, oh, well, you shouldn't be whooping on it, it's a cruiser. Well, this is like at best a cruiser, but it's really not a cruiser. That's why it's kind of like in its own category. It has a lot of crankcase pressure that it has to obviously go somewhere. And it loves to piss out oil, you know, from the breather ports. And when it does that, it drips down the right side of the bike and then, of course, finally makes its way down to the exhaust. And then you're sitting there after you've been whooping on it, racing or doing whatever, playing, whether you're doing jackrabbit starts or just hauling ass, you know, in whatever gear that is. As long as you have those high RPMs and you got good load on the motor, it's going to have a lot of positive crankcase pressure. And it has to go somewhere, and it goes out through the breather, and it goes all over the side of the bike. Come on, like, get that shit together, you know. None of the other bikes seem to obviously have that issue. Let me rephrase that question. Not a lot of other bikes seem to have that issue, but I know one particular bike that does, and that is the 959. I can't speak so much for the 1199, 1099, 1299 because I haven't physically owned them. I've just ridden them, but I would assume it probably would, considering they just have bigger bores and stroke, but who knows? I don't know. I just know that this bike and my 959 have excessive amount of crankcase pressure. And at first I thought there was something wrong with the bike, but it's absolutely not. It's just how the bike is designed. Buddy's bike is that way. Many other ex-Diavel owners have reported the same thing. So it's just, you know, the way the engine is engineered and designed. The fourth and final thing that I'm going to report on this, and it's this bike, but it's all of the Ducatis, and I could almost not even so much say that it's the Ducatis. It's actually on a lot of all the modern bikes. And when the maintenance schedule comes on, you have those lights and such that come on the dash and stuff like that. But they have to obviously go back to Ducati, and some of them are more annoying than others, which I will gladly point out the BMW and this bike as well. So it has, like, the light right now is for its annual service. Bike is fine. It doesn't need to be serviced. I've serviced it. It stays in my garage. If there's a drop of this or drop of that or anything, I know it before anybody else would because they're always spotless and I keep all my stuff, you know, meticulous and always in tip-top shape. The mileage, oil, all that stuff. I know all the service intervals. I do it all myself. Everything is fine. But the problem is those stupid lights that are on the dashboard. And it's not so much that the light. If it was like in the corner or something like that, it really wouldn't so much bother me. But when you got some big honking red light, you know, or 2 or 3 red lights that are on your digital display, and they take up space because there's only so much space that is on the display, and now one of the other indicators or one of the other things that used to be there are now being displayed by this, and now you have to see that stupid light, and you have to go back to the dealer to have that put back on it, and to have that code erased, and it's just annoying. It really is. I think as the owner, it's your bike, it's your shit, you bought it, you paid for it. you should be able to reset the lights on your bike if the maintenance is done properly. You can do it in your car, but in some cars, like I could do it in my Corvette, I could do it in my Suzuki, but you can definitely not do it on the BMW. You could do it on the Yamaha, and you can't do it on any of the other Ducatis, and you can obviously do it on some of these ones over here. But some cars, there's certain Audis and stuff like that, and BMWs that they have to go back to the dealer. So it's just really annoying. It's really nothing that is super significant like the first three, but it's really just annoying. And I think that if the owner had the ability to do it, I think that it would make a lot of us gearheads a little bit happier. But I get it, they want you to come back and spend money at the dealer because they still obviously want you to pay that half hour for the technician to go ahead and plug his laptop up to the dongle and the diagnostic port so he can clear the codes. But it's really just annoying, but it is what it is. So this is not a 5 things I hate about this bike. This is kind of a maintenance update and also a me rant, but the brakes are definitely messed up. They have to get fixed. They have to go back. This thing does leak oil from the bottom, but there's really nothing that you can do about it. It's part of the way the bike is designed, and I can actually get up close and show you guys this. I mean, look at all that damn silicone. Why not just use a gasket and just seal it the right way? I don't get it, but it's the way Ducati wanted it to be done, and part of owning this bike is you just kind of got to deal with some of the bullshit that comes along with it. So that's going to wrap it up here for today's video. If you guys like what you saw, hope this was informative. Keep me updated. Keep you guys updated on problems that I've had with my bike. Oh, one thing I do obviously want to add, I think my bike's got like 1,900 miles, 2,000 miles, and I've already had these issues. So I'm sure it won't be the last, but it's definitely not the first. So other people will definitely, hopefully, benefit from this, and they have something to look out for. So Facebook, Instagram, @SpeedBug, same name here as YouTube, and we'll catch you here for another update and episode here on the SpeedBug channel. Deuces, guys.